There is a way to become more attractive to women without changing your physical appearance or making more money or becoming successful in life. This has been proven by 3 separate studies, and in one of them, the guy got 221% better results with women as a result of displaying this one non-physical trait. Right? So something very strange happens to a woman's attraction for you when you use humor, and I'll explain how that works and I'll give you an example. But essentially what happens is that women will rate you a certain number out of 10 in terms of your physical appearance. And if you use humor, they will rate you as a higher number out of 10. This isn't a one-off. This is something that happens all the time. And I've reported this with other studies where men are displaying non-physical traits such as assertiveness or confidence or emotional independence, and women literally rate the man's physical appearance higher compared to if he was displaying another non-physical trait that doesn't attract women, such as vulnerability or submissiveness in his facial expression, right? So if he sort of has that sort of facial expression, his physical appearance is literally rated less out of 10, right? So let's have a look at the first study in terms of humor and how it worked. With the first study, they did it in a bar. And essentially what would happen is that a guy would be talking to his friends and he would tell them the same joke and they'd be talking for the same amount of time. His friends would laugh and they would eventually walk off saying that he tells funny jokes and he's really funny, always tells the best jokes sort of thing. And women would be in earshot of that. They would overhear what was going on. And after his friends walked away, they had the guy walk up to a woman that he liked and say this: "Hello, my name's," and he would use his name. "I noticed you when I arrived here. I just want to say that I think you're really pretty. I have an appointment now, but I was wondering if you might give me your phone number. I could phone you later and we could have a drink together someplace to get to know each other." Now, that's not the best line because he's talking about calling her later and he's talking about having a drink with her. It's something that some women will see as a big commitment up front, to be getting on a call with him and catching up with him for a drink. But he still got results anyway, and what was interesting is that he got better results when he used humor versus when he was talking to his friends and they walked off and then he walked over and tried to get the woman's number. So the results were that out of 60 women approached after hearing him tell a joke, 16 gave their phone number, versus when he didn't use humor, 5 gave their number. So that was a 26.7% acceptance rate of requesting the number when he had used humor versus 8.3% when he hadn't. And the difference between those numbers, according to my calculations, is 221.7%. So he got 221% better results just by using some humor and having some friends laugh, not even make her laugh. Additionally, when women were asked by the people who are running the study to rate the guy's physical appearance, they rated his physical appearance 16.2% higher when he had used humor. And that's just one study. This has been backed up by other studies, right? So the second study here, they used physically attractive men, so handsome men, versus men who are average looking and below average looking, right? So they used men in the study to be talking to women and using humor or not using humor. And they also got the men to be not only using humor, but be receptive to the woman's attempts to talk to them and use humor, flirt, joke around, and so on. So receptivity was an important part as well. So for the attractive men, that's the way that they called it in the study. They said it attractive men and less attractive men. So you could say handsome men and ugly men or average men, whatever you want to say. But for attractive men, women rated them 48% more physically attractive when the man was high in humor production and high in humor receptivity, compared to high humor production but low receptivity. So what that means is that if a man is just using humor to make women laugh, but when they attempt to use humor, he isn't really engaging much with that and making them feel good about themselves and vibing with them and connecting with them on that, then they rate him as less physically attractive. Now, something interesting to point out is when they tested the less attractive men using humor, do you think that the average or below average looking guy got a bigger boost in attractiveness compared to the handsome men? Well, the answer is no, right? The guys who were below average looking or average looking got a 39% boost in their physical attractiveness ratings when using humor and being high in receptivity, right? So The physically attractive men, the handsome men, got a 48% boost in attractiveness. So why do you think that is? Why do you think the handsome men got rated as being even more handsome as a result of using humor and being receptive in terms of the woman's attempts to use humor? What's the answer in your mind? There are many reasons why it happens, and I'll summarize them briefly now, but essentially, many women feel insecure around handsome men, and they unfairly judge the handsome man or the good-looking man as being arrogant or full of himself, or if he's not showing a lot of active interest in her, she starts thinking that he thinks he's too good for her, or that he would harshly reject her, that she wouldn't be able to get with a guy like him, she wouldn't be able to keep him, and so on. So a lot of women tend to keep their guard up around handsome men, and if a woman comes across a handsome man who not only is making her laugh, but seems receptive to her attempts to use humor, she then feels more confident, more comfortable, and less worried about getting rejected by him, right? So therefore, the woman feels excited about getting a chance with him because not only is he handsome, but he seems friendly and approachable, and they seem to be clicking. He seems to really like her as a person, and as a result, she puts an even higher rating for his physical appearance because she's impressed by the fact that he was so friendly and approachable and they were getting along so well. So what about the below average looking guys and the average looking guys? So I likely fall into the average looking category. Some people may say that I fall into the below average looking category, but I'm definitely not in the handsome category. And for average men, below average looking men, what I've noticed over the years, time and time again, and what I experienced myself, is that when you display non-physical traits that are attractive to women, they literally rate your physical appearance as higher, and they feel attracted to you and want to be with you, despite the fact that you're not handsome or good looking. And for this particular study, it wasn't too much of a difference between what they call the attractive men and the less attractive men. The important lesson to take away from that study is to not go away with your head down thinking, yeah, well, look, handsome men have got it easier, because they do, right? Handsome men get a foot in the door more than a guy who's average looking or below average looking because of their looks. That's true. But the lesson to take away from that study, regardless of your looks, whether you're below average looking, or handsome, good looking, whatever you rate yourself, the important lesson to take away is that when you display traits that are non-physical, that have nothing to do with your physical appearance, but are attractive to women, they literally rate your physical appearance as being higher. And this was backed up by another study. So in another study, they did it at a speed dating event, and the men who used humor were rated significantly more physically attractive than men who didn't. Even though humor is not a physical thing, right? It's a non-physical trait. It is attractive to women. So when you make women feel attracted to your non-physical traits, they literally look at your physical appearance in a more positive light. Now, an important point to make here about humor is that it's not a case where you just randomly try to crack a joke and then women are going to find you more physically attractive. Instead, if a man attempts to make a joke or use humor and it falls flat, he doesn't get any increase in his attractiveness, and this was proven by another study. So if a guy's using dad jokes or cheesy humor or safe humor, and the women aren't really laughing or feeling attracted to how he's using the humor, or if he tries to make a joke and it falls flat, then he's not going to be getting that increased rating of physical attractiveness or attractiveness in general. Instead, the type of humor that works is something that confuses a lot of men, because it's not the sort of humor that most men like to be used when talking to them, right? So the type of humor that works, that makes women feel sexually attracted, is what I call playfully challenging humor. Yet, it's not the sort of thing that is going to make you feel attracted as a man. It makes women feel attracted, but you might actually get annoyed by it if a woman uses it on you. So, say for example, you work as an accountant, right? Just imagine that you're an accountant and you are talking to a woman that you find attractive, and she asks what you do for a living. And you say that you work as an accountant, and she says, oh, well, that makes sense then. And you ask her why. And she says, oh, well, when I first saw you, I thought you looked like a bit of a nerd, and now you just confirmed it. How are you going to be feeling in that moment? Are you going to be liking her more? Are you going to be feeling attracted to her because she seems to be insulting your profession or making a rude remark about you as a person, like saying that you seem like a nerd? Is that going to make you feel more attracted to her? Are you going to be liking that sort of humor being used on you? For most men, the answer is going to be no, right? They're going to be like, well, why is she saying that sort of thing to me? I went through university to become an accountant. Being an accountant is a respectable profession. I make good money. I'm not a nerd. what's this girl's problem? And that's one of the reasons why women will say those sort of things, by the way, because a man's true character is revealed when he is challenged, right? How does he react? Does he become angry? Does he become insecure? Does he suddenly seem like he's being rejected? Oh, she thinks I'm a nerd sort of thing. Is his confidence based on what she is saying and her being reassuring, or can he be independently confident, right? Women are looking for those sorts of things, but men don't really need that from a woman. If she isn't independently confident, right, if she's a bit insecure, but she's pretty, most men do not care. Sure, they'd like to have a healthy-minded, confident, relaxed, warm, loving, intelligent, down-to-earth woman, all that great stuff. But at the end of the day, if a man is interacting with a woman and she seems a bit insecure or is doubting herself, it doesn't make him lose attraction. And in many cases, he actually feels more attracted because she seems a bit unsure of herself and he now feels like more of a man around her. Yet if the woman worked as an accountant and the man then said, an accountant, that makes sense then. And she then feels curious. She asks why. She's feeling challenged in the moment. She feels attracted to the fact that he's putting her under a little bit of playful pressure. That attracts women. They like men who have courage, who have the balls to talk to a woman in that way, rather than her saying that she works as an accountant and him just being nice and just trying to get along with her and show her that he's a really innocent guy who just, oh, an accountant, yeah. How long have you been doing that? Yeah, oh, that's interesting. Oh, did you go to uni for that? Oh, okay. And what's it like being an accountant? Oh, aren't you a nice guy? Well, let's just get along and, have a nice chat, and maybe if we can become friends and, get along and connect, and maybe we could, potentially kiss and have sex and start a relationship or something. Let's just get along, right? But when a guy does that, he usually ends up in the friend zone. On the other hand, if the guy had said, oh, that makes sense then, an accountant, and she asked why, and he then said something like this, it's going to make her feel attracted. Oh, well, look, when I first saw you, I thought, geez, that girl looks like a bit of a nerd, and now you've just confirmed it. The nerdy accountant girl. Or more simply, when he asked what she does for a living and she said that she works as an accountant, he could have said something like this. Yeah, I thought you looked like a bit of a nerd. Or, nerdy accountant. That makes sense, it suits you. So did you bring your calculator or? So playfully challenging humor is often referred to as playful teasing. And it has been proven that women actually see playful teasing as flirting. They like it. They don't see it as you being rude or, as this study pointed out, denigrating them, right? It doesn't mean that you're unfairly criticizing her or that you're trying to hurt her or that you're being rude and arrogant and you've just said something insulting towards her. She works as an accountant. You said that she looks like a nerd? That is so rude. How could you say that to a woman? She's not thinking that. She's thinking, wow, this guy has the confidence to say that to her. He's being playful with it. So it's coming from a place of love. It's not coming from a place of hate, where the guy's trying to hurt her or make her feel bad about herself and so on. Instead, what women see happening is that the guy is being playful and that he is flirting with her. And flirting is where you show interest in a woman, but in a playful way. It's not in a serious way. And women understand this, but most men don't understand it. Most men think that if they say something like that to a woman, it will be rude, it will be insulting, the woman will reject them, and it's just going to be a horrible experience for him and the woman. But from the woman's perspective, she is so excited. She likes the fact that the guy has enough confidence and masculinity to put her under the spotlight, where she is under a bit of playful pressure, rather than not having the masculinity to put any pressure on her in a playful way. But if he just wants to take all pressure off her and just show her that he really likes her and he's trying to get along with her, then it's not exciting for the woman, because any guy can do that. Any guy can just get along with her and be nice to her. But what turns women on is when you have the non-physical traits of confidence, emotional masculinity, and social intelligence to be able to put a bit of playful pressure on her in the moment, to make her feel like she's under the spotlight of your masculine attention, to make her feel a bit girly in comparison to your masculine presence. And what you may have noticed throughout your life is that guys who are naturally good with women will playfully mess with a woman or playfully challenge her at times, right? Sure, they'll get along with her, they'll chat with her, they'll connect with her, but they'll also have the ability to playfully mess with her at times, rather than looking at her as being the same as them, right? Men and women are different. And it's important to remember that when you're interacting with women, right? You most likely already understand and accept that men and women are different, but do you really treat women as being different to you when you interact with them? Or do you feel like they want to be interacted with in the same way that you would want to be interacted with? Where, for example, you potentially wouldn't want a woman messing with you and teasing you about what you do for a living. You potentially wouldn't want that. But it doesn't mean that a woman doesn't want it, right? She likes to feel girly in comparison to your masculinity. She likes to feel like you're putting a bit of playful pressure on her. And if you don't accept that about women, if you think that they just want to be the same as you, then you'll talk to them in a neutral way and they will feel neutral towards you. You'll essentially end up in the friend zone, or you'll have very forgettable interactions that lack that spark. But if you can understand and accept that men and women are different and then act on that knowledge, you'll then be ready to understand and act on the knowledge that when you interact with a woman, you need to interact with her in a different way than you would interact with a man, with a friend, or with a woman that you're friends with and you have no sexual interest in. If you're interacting with a woman that you have sexual interest in, you need to adjust how you interact with her. And it doesn't all come down to humor. Humor is just one of 124 non-physical traits that I have identified and that I teach in my Attraction Mastery video lesson series. So at the end of this video, I'll recommend another video of mine that you can watch on YouTube. But if you'd like to learn what to say and do to display the traits that make women feel sexually attracted to you, then check out the link in the description for the Attraction Mastery video lesson series. And all of my techniques are tested and proven to work. And the guys who are learning my techniques and applying them are experiencing results like this, where they meet a woman and they start kissing her within minutes of meeting her, or they have sex with her on the first night. Guys having women ask to be their girlfriend, guys having women talk about marriage with them. There are so many success stories. So if you want to learn my tested, proven to work techniques, check out the link in the description. And for now, just remember that the rating that women give you out of 10 isn't fixed in stone. It's not set. It's not a case where if you rate yourself as a 7 or a 6 or an 8, then that's all you can be in a woman's eyes. It has been proven by multiple studies all around the world, and I can tell you from my own personal experience that when you display non-physical traits that are attractive to women, they literally rate your physical attractiveness as higher, and they want you sexually and romantically. So if you want to continue learning about how to attract women on YouTube now, watch the video on the screen. Alternatively, click the link in the description and check out the Attraction Mastery video lesson series.